And we're ready to play basketball. Jermaine O'Neal and Jahidi White on the opening tip. Pacers coming off a victory here at home over Atlanta on Tuesday to stop a 4-game losing streak. Washington on Tuesday lost at home to Charlotte, 95-88. Reggie Miller getting the step. He beat Hamilton and took the lead pass.
There it is. That's what I mentioned before. So if Michael Jordan is overplaying Rose, then Hamilton's going to have a tough time chasing Miller around those screens. No one moves better than Reggie Miller without the basketball. Constant motion from Reggie Miller.
Hamilton. Richard Hamilton giving the Wizards a 5-2 lead. Getting back to the subject of falling behind by double-digit margins, Reggie Miller said this is not a good storyline. You can't always dig a hole and then pull it out. It's happened against Atlanta, Sacramento. The Knicks led by as many as 20. Portland led by as many as 11, and Indiana came back. Here's O'Neal. Yes. So the Wizards have a 5-4 lead.
Interesting, Isaiah Thomas mentioned to us before the game. Last year, they concentrated on being good defensively first and worried about the offense later in the season. He said, this year, I want to come out and learn how to score points early, and the defense will come along as we get into the season.
And that is a three-pointer. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan is kind of just another guy on the court, letting the other guys find the range, does not touch the ball.
And believe me, he has no problem with that with the Wizards up in the game.
Jalen Rose. Indiana Pacers started the season, as we mentioned earlier, at 6-2, an NBA franchise best start, and then they dropped the 4 in a row. Jermaine O'Neal missing 3 of those 4 games. Here's O'Neal going backdoor.
And if you're Doug Collins right now, you're a little happy that Laettner and Hamilton both have gotten off well, and there goes Rose from that corner hitting that same jump shot he just hit a few moments ago. We saw a fast break basket for Washington. They don't get a lot of easy baskets, whereas other teams seem to get a lot more. Like there's an easy basket right there. Backdoor, and then a bounce pass for a layup.
Beautiful pass thrown by Jalen Rose. Final seconds of the quarter. Hamilton gets it off in time and hits. Buzzer basket by Richard Hamilton, appreciated by Doug Collins.
Here's your 1-2-2 zone once again. You see up at the top, Kwame Brown, then Michael Jordan and Davis on the wings with Popeye and Laettner down low.
And Jermaine O'Neal able to hit over it. So the Wizards now lead by 3, and they have done it without getting scoring from Michael Jordan. He's played 14 minutes, 0 for 5 from the field. Remember the game last week against Seattle? Missed his first 14 shots, 5 for 26, finished with 16 points, and then followed up with a 31-point game and a 44-point game. Here is Jordan. Yes! And that is his first field goal.
Hamilton was inserted in the starting lineup because the big reason Doug wanted to do it, not an overwhelming power small forward for the Pacers. They could match up a little bit differently and get Hamilton back in the lineup.
Reggie Miller running the floor.
As good a year as Tinsley has had thus far, he's still shooting only 37% from the floor.
And he does come off a career high, 29 points the other night. Here's Jordan on a little turn against Rose. So the Wizards lead at 44-39.
Again, the 1-2-2 zone. This time Laettner up on top and poor coverage on the back line. Popeye, he knows, he's pointing to himself saying, my fault. He went out to guard the corner with the ball up at the top of the circle. No need to do that.
And Tinsley working it down. Here's Tinsley, rejected by Thomas. Chased down by Foster, who fires. Good half here at Conseco. All right, Cheryl, how about Jamaal Tinsley's are taking 10 shots in that first half? Do you think he is? Michael Jordan beginning to heat up. You think he was affected by that career-high 29 in the Pacers' last game of the win over Atlanta?
Well, you mentioned earlier that he had a big game, and sometimes, you know, youngsters can lose sight of exactly what their roles are as Jalen Rose hits that corner jump shot, baseline jumper.
Miller feeding Foster. Nicely done. Reggie Miller to the cutting Jeff Foster. Wizards now have a 56-50 lead. Jermaine O'Neal. Beautiful move. Jermaine O'Neal last year had a breakthrough season. He had started only 18 games before coming to Indiana. Inserted into the starting lineup last year, averaged 13 points, 10 rebounds. And he appears to be a future all-star. That pass picked off. Tinsley has a 4-on-1. O'Neal finishes.
That's 2 turnovers now by Michael Jordan on 2 passes that he normally can make, blindfolded. He nonchalanted that one, throwing out of the double team from the low post the first time, and he's saying to his teammates right there that, look, I understand. I mean, he knows that those are 2 turnovers that should not have happened.
Hamilton played by Miller. Forced into a very difficult shot by Reggie. Here's Tinsley. Nice feed, somehow able to get it to Foster. Little sleight of hand by the rookie from Iowa State, Jamaal Tinsley. What a pickup this young man was. Jamaal Tinsley, a first-round pick of the Grizzlies, traded to Atlanta, then dealt to the Pacers on draft night. There were a lot of question marks about Tinsley just prior to the draft. Did not look particularly sharp during those preseason camps. Jermaine O'Neal has given the Pacers a 2-point lead.
Isaiah just glows when he talks about Tinsley. He thinks that this young man is going to be something special for many, many years because he's very competitive. The biggest thing is he's very tough. Played the last game with injuries to his back and his wrist and his hip and would not come out of the game.
Jordan, yes, and it counts. Laettner picks up the assist.
This is another one of those tests that the Wizard team will face during the year. Things are going well as Reggie launches a 3. Moving to his left this time and hits it.
Indiana Pacers at 7-6. They started the year 6-2. Miller again. Then lost 4 in a row. Jermaine O'Neal had the band back, sat out 3 of those 4 games. While the Wizards 2-8 coming in, they have dropped their last 7. Richard Hamilton.
Reggie has looked back more than just one time at Jahidi White with some shots that Jahidi has delivered.
It counts, and the foul. Once again, Jermaine O'Neal, 2.5 remaining in the third. Davis lost the dribble. Miller for Tinsley gives it up. That's assist number 17 as he is able to find Al Harrington on the breakaway. So that equals a season high.
And you see Doug Collins dropping his head for a second, wiping the back of his neck as Michael goes to the rim and will have an opportunity to finish the 3-point play.
Donnie Walsh.
He has done an amazing job here. Think about it. The franchise never fell off the end of the table, so to say. They never dropped down the way Chicago has, for example, the way Milwaukee did, the way Philly did for a number of years. We get the lob pass to Jermaine O'Neal to start off the 4th quarter.
Here's Hamilton, an off-balance, difficult shot. And Tinsley on the run. The lead for Miller. Back it goes. Touch pass to O'Neal. What a play once again by Tinsley. Jordan off the steal. Tinsley back. Jordan going at him. Jordan hits in the foul. It is just past 10 p.m. here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Marv Albert with the czar, Mike Fratello, and Cheryl Miller. Off the steal, Rose around Davis. And the Pacers lead the Wizards 89-80. Jordan, he had that lined up perfectly against Harrington, kept alive by Kwame Brown. Very sloppy play here in the second half by the Wizards. First 26 minutes, they committed just 1 turnover. Jalen Rose able to take advantage of yet another Washington turnover. The last 14 minutes, 9 turnovers by the Wizards. Jordan gambled, went for the steal, and Jermaine O'Neal now has 23.
A couple years ago when he came from behind Karl Malone with that huge steal.
O'Neal is 11 of 17 from the field. Jordan off the head fake. Strong move by Michael Jordan. Now has 19, 95-87 Pacers. Indiana back to the offense, up by 6.
When you run the lane on the fast break that way, do you use glass or rim? And there's the beautiful drop-off pass for the easy score inside by O'Neal.
97-91, back to a 6-point game. Here's Rose. And the Pacers now lead 99-91.
Think about Indiana's team, you think about Reggie Miller, you think about Jalen Rose, but tonight we're seeing these youngsters and takes it to the basket.
Little answer from Jordan, showing a burst going to his left and then stuffing. That was vintage Michael. The Pacers hearing it from this capacity crowd.